Hello, friends and family. Welcome to another weekly recap for the Bigtensor sphere of subnets. Today we are joined by Dan, and we may get Peyton to join in. Peyton's quite busy with some exciting stuff he will share on his own, but we have a lot to discuss because there's been a lot of changes in Bigtensor. I don't think we even addressed them too in depth last week because I think we were in the mode of digestion. Um, we digest these changes at the network level, and I think there's a lot of discussion too, right? People all over X, all over Telegram, all over Discord are talking. People that have a lot of subnets are pissed. People that have one subnet and it's crushing it, they're very happy. You have new circumstances that are arising, and all I'm doing is letting people join here. So I'm just giving you guys more context of what you know and just framing the landscape as we see it. Right, we're looking at this and saying, "Holy cow, 440 is one of the best things that this network has ever done for itself. It's one of the most selfish things that the network has done for itself in the best way possible. We want the network to be a bit more selfish because that benefits you guys, that benefits us as builders, that benefits everyone involved, right? Dan has been part of Bigtensor much longer than I am, and as we talk about these things, he always brings it up to me. This is how it is. Change is the constant, right? Change is the constant, and if you can know how to operate in that zone, that is something that we see as the specialty of a subnet owner. A subnet owner is many things, but a subnet owner is really somebody who has to think on their feet and build for this world. And as the world changes, things also have to adjust. So this, as I gave like a couple minutes here for people to join in, this is me just talking about how we see 440. 440 is amazing for Bigtensor. Dan, do you want to say anything real quick on 440? Not any sort of implications of our to be discussed items?
I agree. I agree. Well, at the end of the day, BitTensor is an ecosystem. It's a community, right? And everybody agrees that there's leechers, right? So um, it's a tricky balance, right? I do not envy Kant's position right now. I'm trying to figure out how to get the builders and the operators up and get the leechers down, right? And here's the thing: a single subnet person entity can easily go from one category to the other, right? So it's a very tricky problem to solve, but I think this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I have to agree. As you're agreeing with me, it is what we need. Is it hard? Is it going to make a lot of change happen? Are we seeing a lot of change happen? Yeah. Is it going to make? Is it going to expose the best out of builders? Yeah. Is it going to expose the worst out of builders? Also, and that's a big part of why we're coming here today and making such a big, announcement. So what I'm going to do is take just a couple seconds here. We're going to go silent, not quite silent. I'm just going to post that we're live. Make sure that everyone is aware. I'm going to send it into a couple chats as well. So just give me one moment. I don't want to share too much in the meantime. So if it's quiet, sorry guys. Post this. We are live. Actually, quote, you're live. And that did not. Sorry. I just made a post and it did not make the link show up. Or it did not make the preview show up. Give me 1 second. All right, post this video. We are live. And sharing our biggest announcement to date. Amazing. Okay, so that is posted. Copy the link, send it into nerds, send it into subnet summer. Okay. I got that out of the way. Maybe I could do Discord as well. I mean, I'm the only person rushing me here, so let's do that. At Zipcode Discord, we are live. One moment, everybody. I'm just sending some messages. Ditto. We are live. Okay. And let's get back to our regular program. I'm pumped. That's the first thing. I'm pumped because this is a new change, a new step in the right direction for Bigtensor. That's why I'm pumped. Do I like having to change things? Personally, no. It was just easier to keep things the same and just do things easy mode. But that's not what pushes Bigtensor to the next level. There was no breakout subnet that is thinking in that way, right? If you can't have both circumstances. So let's talk about it. I've given 7 minutes or so. We've allowed people to come in. Let's go into the meat and potatoes of our conversation today, which is really exciting, guys. The first thing that I will say is that as a team, we meet as a horizontal unit. Everybody has their say, and it helps us come to conclusions like this because it allows us as an organization to think much broader and more on our toes. But let's talk. So we talk a lot internally, and we're looking at 440, and we're saying this is awesome for the network, but every subnet should have seen 440, and unless you're like Liam or Schutz or like even Targon, don't question your existence, right? Don't question anything. Don't question at all. It's working. That's what Bigtensor is built for. Keep going, guys, please. What you do have to question is like if you are part of that long tail that has seen a big sell-off. Many subnets fit into this category. I could tell you Zipcode, and my pain is my holders' pain because we are solely exposed to our alpha, and same thing for Ditto, right? These are subnets that have been affected by this change. We both have to look into the mirror and say, okay, how do we win on this new game board? And it gives you a couple options, right? So let's think about this, Dan. When we first started working together, you came to Zipcode. Zip Server was something that we strategically hired you for because you're very versed in proofs. Now,
Yep.
I'm talking about the specific product of Zip Server here because it is actually the thing. The business is Zip Server. What we incentivize is the usage of Zip Server. So when Zip Server is considered not speculative, it is a revenue machine. It's a revenue monster with huge potentials. Still is, and the revenue comes from this innovation. This innovation is not a inference, or it's not a compute commodity, or it's not a storage on a device. It is a process that has to be built from scratch. When you do that, and we're seeing this with a lot of subnets. I'm not going to name any of them, but we're seeing many subnets that build these novel things, or just build an AI native thing, and then they go through these super long sales cycles. So, oh great, Peyton just messaged me. He'll be able to hop on later. Peyton, if you're hearing this, just jump right in. Come right in. Here's the link. Good. Okay, sorry to distract myself on such an important point. But there are many subnets that fit in this category that are they need to go through really long sales cycles. HELOCs, real estate. We're in these conversations even with the tokenized entities, and we're saying to ourselves, we can't get around really what is a minimum 9-month sales cycle, right? 6 months. We just started the sales cycle, mind you, like a month and a half ago. So. Yep. When you have cons go on the Discord and say, hey, the clock is ticking, you can go do whatever you want, right? You can make a conscious decision with your free will to drain your LP pool while you go wait for this revenue to come in and fill it. Or you do something that actually produces revenue immediately. And you think on your feet, and you cut dead weight and you say, okay, I built this thing for a Bigtensor that no longer exists. Bigtensor does not want this thing anymore. My holders do. My holders want success. The team wants it. But if Bigtensor doesn't want it, Bigtensor doesn't want it. So the announcement here today is that as we have assessed what 440 or what a post 440 Bigtensor world is, we're realizing that Zipcode, although the most beautiful product I've ever thought of in my entire life and the most exciting venture, truthfully, and the most enjoyable, we've built this venture, we have this community, and Bigtensor has said, hey, we don't want that. And if you think we want it and want to try it out for 9 months, just know that it's going to come at the cost of your stakers. I am not willing to damage my stakers. That's my priority. I exist and show up every day to this exact desk to serve my stakers, our stakers here, Dan. And that leads us to a conscious decision. Are you the type of person who is going to see it through and maybe it wins, but you get to benefit by farming the network for 9 months? Or are we going to rip off the Band-Aid and say, you know what? We actually have something that's going to generate revenue immediately. And we have something that is almost ready to go live. And we have something that we've been talking about for some time. And if we pull off the Band-Aid before we go into details and we prioritize revenue, immense amounts of revenue that can scale, that is what our stakers want. We need to get back to the early June subnet 46 and subnet 118 prices. That was a $3 Zipcode and an $8 or $7 Ditto. Then, we lost momentum with an exploit and we had 440 come. This is the rebirth. Root was just reborn. Now is 46. So let's talk about that. And also there's implications to Ditto, which are immensely positive in terms of innovation, in terms of team. So we're at almost the 12-minute mark. I'm glad we're still on schedule. The announcement is this. Because of all of the notes I've said prior about a post 440 Bigtensor world, we are making the conscious decision in order to prioritize our stakers' performance and their capability to still believe in us. We want to say, hey, we're moving with the network. We're changing with the network, and we're doing it in the right way. So the announcement is that subnet 46 will no longer be named Zipcode. Some point today, in about an hour, it will be changed to Instant. InstantSubnet.com is Dan's venture, which is already commercially agreed to provide all of the inference needs for Ditto Bench, which is the third largest token consumer in the world on OpenRouter for GPT OSS 20B, which is the starting model or the framework for the starting model of Instant Subnet. Now, before I go into Instant Subnet, I do want you to know that the attention to detail, the product at Zipcode, is still being in use. We're still going to use this internally. You guys allowed us to build a financial machine that we were trying to go through this 9-month sales cycle with. But in turn, what you did as well is you created this financial edge for the subnets you believe in, 46 and or 118. What that means is that this edge, this protocol allows us to avoid sell pressure to our TAL pool to fund our team. No more OTC needs, no more selling on the market needs. What we're able to do with Zipcode is deal in USDC on base. And that genuinely doesn't have to live on Bigtensor. Every time we've talked to Const about it, he's like, why does this live on Bigtensor? To that point, we were trying to optimize for something, which was these curators, but that's that long sales cycle, back to the sales cycle. So although you can push through, and although if anybody can push through a sales cycle, it's going to be myself, truthfully. But we cannot do that. We cannot make our stakers sit on the sideline and say, oh, well, I really hope they figure this out. Because that money, truthfully, is not going to wait 9 months to move or deregister. That money is going to move in 3 to 6 months. So would I rather be on a ticking time bomb and telling myself a hopeful reality and the stakers a hopeful reality? Or would I rather just give them the hopeful reality that is already amazing? I would probably do the second option because I exist to serve the stakers. So without any further ado, now that we've addressed that the change is subnet 46 from Zipcode to Instant, and we've established that Zipcode is an open source tool for all of Bigtensor to still use and do the same things that we are going to do by basically replacing the term house with a subnet. So we're basically using our subnets and getting lines of credit based on the emissions. That's what Zipcode does, and it's going to continue to do that. So no time has been wasted. But I have to sit here, and as I introduce Dan and bring Dan in, is I have to look at you all in the face and say, you were all right. Every single person who messaged me and said, you're getting a bit distracted come end of June after the exploit was right. Not only was my mind foggy because I had an escrow party who's supposed to be trustable send almost $1 million to a scammer, and I couldn't control that. Right? They sent the money, but many of these changes happened, and my focus got diverted. And what's beautiful about this circumstance is that any growth to Ditto is growth to Instant. Any new capabilities for Instant is going to enable more growth for Ditto. And this is, I've established that we do this for our stakers. Every single decision has come together. How do we make it best for our stakers? But the product side of things is having an immense priority over what I believe and what the team believes is the thing that is going to make Bigtensor a commercially viable product, which is the fastest and friendliest AI. And that is what Ditto is now that it has Instant behind it, or will be now that it has Instant behind it. So that's the vision: fastest and friendliest AI powered by Instant and living on Ditto. Dan, without any further ado, welcome, my good friend. I'm so glad to be in business with you now. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amazing. Amazing. How you doing today?
Good. No, awesome. Thank you. Great intro. It's amazing to be here, right? 440 is bringing the hammer down. It's putting pressure, right? And long sales cycles are not a place for Bigtensor. At least not after 440. It's one of those things where you're going to need committed investors for months, 6 months plus, right? A year before the full cycle actually turns. So before we dive in, where is Zipcode going to live?
Zipcode's going to live on Base. Base is where Zipcode already lives, and that is going to be the venue where we're going to direct all of the sell pressure. And this is a network-wide announcement. Guys, whatever you can, please divert your sell pressure away from your pool and onto another. It could be on Bigtensor EVM. It could be on Base. But we made the conscious decision to build it on Base. And yeah, so that's where it's going to live. But it's going to be used internally. I will also add that Kyle was the point man on the Zipcode product. Kyle is also basically our financial mind. So now he has this tool, and he's going to create use cases to share with everybody, and as it's an open source tool in Bigtensor to say, hey, we actually just saved our chart 20% sell pressure, and all of these, and we actually saved our treasury by shorting and managing a treasury correctly, all of this money. When we make those case studies with Kyle using Zipcode, which it's already live and testing money going through those processes now, that is when we will start to really see the appreciation for what was invested in by Bigtensor. Right? It's not leaving Bigtensor. It's actually using another blockchain for the worst thing, sell pressure. So, great question, Dan. That is important. It's also important to know Kyle, because if you know Kyle, you know how much of a resource he is to this team, and it allows me to focus on me, Dan to focus on Dan, Peyton to focus on Peyton, and same for Ken.
Absolutely. So what is Instant? I'll just kind of jump in.
I'm going to make the opening post right now. So as you do that, I'm going to go to the side a little bit.
Absolutely. So in our previous streams with Peyton, me, you, we kind of touched upon this, right? There is a need for Ditto to have a certain level of inference met, right? And this all kind of came together in a very interesting way. Months before I knew Sebi, right? I did message Const, and I was like, hey, check out this Chat Jimmy thing. You got inference basically at like 14,000 tokens a second, right? We're Bigtensor. We are the bleeding edge of AI. We should be able to provide a service like this, right? And by the way, the incentive mechanism.
Demo, real quick on Chat Jimmy. If I want to go to Chat Jimmy and be like, tell me about Canada, boom, 14,000 tokens a second type of fast is what we're talking about. This isn't like 1,000 tokens per second. And it's because there's a structural difference to what is going here. Dan will talk about, not that we're starting with this structural difference, but we are building to it and giving a premium inference service in the meantime. But please, the floor is yours, Dan.
Absolutely. So this demo is kind of the direction we're trying to go. We are trying to hit instant inference, right? That's where the name came from. Peyton has a demand that he needs met, and he's having trouble basically meeting the demand for inference that he has. And I want to do instant inference. What I want to do is compete with ChatJimmy and all the other startups and providers that do something similar. A product like this needs to live on, like, Bigtensor is a great home for a product like this. And if we're going to be if we're going to be the bleeding edge of AI and pushing it forward, why not here? And that's kind of what it is. From OTF to sub 2 to now here on 46, every step of the way was, hey, look, here's the bleeding edge of AI, and watch us push it forward. And so instant inference is going to be, okay, we're going to add a new dimension to this. We're going to say, we're going to provide the fastest inference possible at the highest quality possible. And this can go many different routes. So that demo is kind of the goal, right? But there's like 3 or 4 different factors. One of them is a leaky bucket. That leaky bucket is Peyton needs inference as well, right? And he needs his demands met. So instantly, day one, I have a customer. I have a customer with very high inference demands that I have to meet. I have a quality bar, right? We're going to provide very fast inference. And what that allows us to do is scale AI not only horizontally of more GPUs, more instances, more AI sessions running, but also vertically of now you can put a heavier load on a single compute unit, so to speak. So in the Kubernetes world, it would be like you have more pods, but also at the same time, put a more beefier CPU or behind each pod. Right, so you scale horizontally and vertically. We're trying to introduce a new dimension of you can go ahead and do twice the inference on the same number of GPUs, right? And that would be the goal. How we get there is going to be a very interesting story and journey, and I doubt it's going to be linear, right? Nothing in Bigtensor is. We're not going into this with some rosy colored glasses, right? And the Mike Tyson quote is, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? So that's that.
Well,
we're going in
real quick. I think that what happened with 440, it was that people had a plan. That you have a plan. You're going, and it was the punch in the face. It landed, and it landed on everybody. Like Kant's punched 128 people in the face, and some people felt it more than others, and we felt it. We're like, wait, did we just get punched? Because we thought we were doing great things, and then we really had to look at ourselves and say, wait, we're going to, not only that are we going to make that decision, but we're also, I would speculate, we will see a lot more of this. A lot of people will be cutting the dead weight because you just got punched in the face. We just happen to be people that pride ourselves and know that we can make decisions fast that are the right decision, right? So Dan, please continue. I love where you're going with this.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a plan, and the plan, high level overview, is we're going to go ahead, provide inference. We're going to provide a base level, and we're going to ratchet up and keep the ratchet going until we hit a certain number of tokens per second, and that's going to be our bottom line metric. And it's going to increase and increase and increase until the miners themselves figure out through the incentive mechanism. This is what Bigtensor is great for. I'm going to put a mechanism in place that will incentivize miners to figure out how to compete with each other for the most tokens per second. And that's the magic of Bigtensor, by the way, right? A simple incentive mechanism where you know who your competition is. It's your fellow miner. And if they can provide a single more token per second than you, they get the emissions, right? Uh, I it's one of the things that first attracted me to Bigtensor to begin with. It's the whole like I'm going to offload this very difficult problem on you miners. Sorry, it is what it is. You get paid pretty well for it. Um, so you guys go ahead solve this problem for me, and I'll incentivize you guys to do so along the way. And then at the very end, we have this amazing product that we can offer to the world, right? We can push the bleeding edge of AI in a new dimension. Uh, and that's kind of the spiel a little bit, but the ratchet is going to come. The leaky bucket will get fixed, and there's going to be a self-improving cycle here. You know, as Ditto grows, the demand on instant will grow, and we have to scale with that. And then as we introduce more models past just GPT OSS, and we'll offer that to Ditto as well. And it's a self-feedback loop that's positive and reinforcing, and it's exciting. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my God. Well, I just made the post. We are live with Instant posting. Here we go. I got to repost it. The first post introducing Instant lightning fast private inference on subnet 46. Our first customer, Hey Ditto AI, has signed agreements to access Instant for Ditto Bench. Faster inference equals faster innovation. Do you agree or do you agree?
Both.
Excited is an understatement. We made a conscious decision to give the network what it wants. Post 440. Thankfully, the community has people like Dan to drive new innovations. Amazing. Okay. So let me get back to it. Sorry, I'm posting. We got Peyton backstage. This is great. I'm going to bring him in. Peyton, just give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. I'll probably give you a couple minutes here. But okay, we've talked about a lot. I'm very excited about what's to come, truthfully. I think that do I want my baby of the Resi manifesto to come to fruition and have the time and have the investment from the network? Right? I came to Bigtensor because, one, I believe that the structure overall is going to win, but two, as a founder, it gives you something in return for other things, right? As that agreement has changed, it changes what is possible to be built on Bigtensor. That is why we're here. That is the most important element. There is no element of, we're quitting on our stakers. No, it's the same people, right? It's all the same people. And if anything, before I bring Peyton up, I'll bring Peyton up, but I'll say this first before I intro or bring you through your section on Peyton. But what I will say is that we are at a point where I could have gotten $1 million if I got $1 for every person who said, hey, you're a bit distracted from late June to July to now. And I agreed with every single one of them. And the answer is, and the follow-up question is, hey, you have this insane growth engine with Ditto that you are leading growth at. Why don't you just dedicate your time there? And everybody who was exposed to Ditto was like, why don't you just do that? Everybody who was exposed to Zipcode was like, when this. And now we deliver on both fronts. We now say, hey, there is no more stagnant, speculative 9-month pipeline subnet. Here's Instant. Hey, here's Ditto, and let's go make it grow. I am going to take the liberty to show some screens. I know we're not allowed to show the dev environments yet, Peyton, but I do want to show some screens to excite people on Ditto V2 because they do continue to update and get better and better. But that being said, Peyton, you've been part of this with us from the start. I'd love to hear your thoughts on us moving in this direction and how it benefits Ditto and product and team.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Sebi. Hey, everybody. Hey, community. Well, 46 and 118 have been a partnership from the beginning, but one thing from my end is that like 46 kind of had nothing to do with 118, at least in its beginning. Like, it was a cool subnet, but and if you looked at Sebi's like handle on Discord, it says like Sebi 46 118. So you know, naturally would be nice if they were kind of synergizing more, and that also to what people to the point about Sebi about focusing, like it allows Sebi to be like promoting both of them and kind of like above the subnet level, and it should be beneficial for both subnets. That's the whole goal here. And then the inference idea came because Ditto Bench consumes billions of tokens on GPT OSS 20B. Honestly,
Number two in the world.
we're number 2 in the world on OSS 20B, and we're number like 40 in the world overall. This is just Ditto Bench alone. We're probably going to raise the submission fee like over time because the bench is going to actually take a bit more inference over time as we scale the bench. But we need a lot of inference, and we started Ditto Bench on shoots, and no fault to shoots, but they were pegged on Quen 32. Like we completely pegged Quen 32 on shoots, and we, I know Ridges went through the same thing. Like, you start on shoots and then your competition scales and it becomes like you have to move to open routers. So that's where we landed, and we picked one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest model out there intentionally. It's called GPT OSS 20B. It's actually not that new of a model. It's probably a year old, I want to say, at this point. But it's still kind of a powerhouse. It's got all the we like about it, that it's got the things that you need. It's got tool calling. It's got structured outputs. These are just some things that builders need. One thing that is missing that I dislike, it doesn't have any image recognition. So I'm sure Dan's going to have a VLM on instant at some point, but we don't need that now. And also OSS 20B, we picked the 20B variant, which is objectively not a very smart model. It's not even, it's quite small. You could run it on a MacBook Pro quite easily. And even some phones could probably run this 20B model. We did that intentionally because I wanted to see how far can a harness push even a model like as crappy as OSS 20B. And, as people have seen, miners are pushing the bench to the max. Every time we roll out a bench, it's like I just have to continue scaling the difficulty, which is going to lead to continued token consumption. It already is. And, to be clear, you can go look at, and I can even share the numbers. Most of our inference spend is going to Grok with a Q, GROQ. They're going to be an instant competitor. Dan knows this. I made the choice, actually, like this is an important point. Like, for this competition, I chose fast inference on purpose. Yeah, so there's Grok with a Q. Because when we started with shoots, another thing was that it was slow. And again, to no fault of their own, but it made the benches took like 45 minutes to grade. So when I moved everything to Open Router, the embeddings, which I'm expecting Dan will probably spit out embeddings at some point too. Great use case for instant. So we spit out the embeddings and the LLM to Open Router, and it's just way faster. And we're actually routing by speed, not by cost, because we want my vision of the Ditto Bench competition, the Ditto subnet, I think of it as this like 24/7, like fast paced innovation competition. So like, it's really cool. So like our miners, like, and this is another thing, like, unlike Ridges, which this is just design choices, but they have something like an 18-hour cooldown between when a miner could submit. On Ditto Bench, it's like 30 minutes right now. And we aim to keep it small like that because I actually want miners to be submitting multiple iterations of their agents. I know that when I tried mining on ridges, like I was so annoyed with the 18-hour thing, because like the feedback loop, I was like, oh my God, like I've made some improvements, but I got to wait another 10 hours before I can submit this thing. Not the case with Ditto Bench. You can just submit, get feedback. There's a feedback loop going. So that's it. And it's important for us to control the inference pipeline for that, because we, like, Ditto actually stands in between the inference and the agents. We do analytics on what the agents are doing. Like, we don't actually trust miners at all. Like, we watch the actual model calls they're making. That's why we have the data on how much tokens we're consuming, who's got the best TPS. And yeah, long story short, Dan's going to deliver on like really fast inference, and we're going to start, like, Ditto Bench is going to be the first consumer, and then we'll quickly follow with just the product itself. People are familiar with the Ditto app. Ditto app is mainly powered by OpenRouter, but my goal is that essentially there will be an auto mode powered by Instant within Ditto, and this is going to be the default experience that we provide to people. Something I really want to provide is, and I've kind of convinced Sebia this over time, but basically subsidizations and offering a lot of kind of like free inference to users, there's a lot of growth power in there. So we see that as a growth and marketing tool, because like I could spend my ad dollars on Facebook, or I could just spend my ad dollars on giving free inference to people. Or I could do both, and both are really important. So we do that. We do that with a subnet. And the last point that is probably a question on people's minds would be like, hey, why doesn't Ditto just kind of like start hosting their own inference and stuff? And my answer to that is, I'm greedy with my incentive mechanism, and I want to pay all my incentives to miners optimizing the Ditto agent, because right now the Ditto agent competition is mainly just memory. But the way we're going to scale this is, so Dan is scaling by forcing his miners to do faster and faster inference. I'm scaling by forcing my miners' agents to do more and more capabilities. So the next one is going to be coding. It's going to be like this. Great, your Ditto Bench V9 agent is cool, but in V12 it can't really do coding, so it'll get a score of like 35, and then you'll have to go implement coding in your agent to get the higher score at that point. So it'll be kind of backwards compatible like throughout the trajectory, but over time Ditto agents are just going to do more and more. Yeah, and the end of at the end state, it'll look like a state of the art like agent harness, and there's going to be varieties, because like I personally talk to like more than 10 miners like every week. I get their feedback. They're very creative, and my goal is to have these like families of Ditto agents, like, and I know that some miners are teams, so like, I want a diverse set of top Ditto agents, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for. So that just means we have to keep the competition super active, which means we're going to be consuming inference like 24/7.
Yes, you need to be fast, right? It's we talked about how what's it called? We talked about how the simulation engine is everything, right? It's like
that's kind of what Ditto Bench is.
Focus on the model, right? You can build a huge model and try to play that game, or you can simulate, right, and validate, right? Because AI feeds itself with feedback. So how do we get there is speed. And I know in chats I'm seeing here people saying, "Oh my God, how the heck are they doing so much big change? Oh my God, this is crazy." And we hear you. We agree. Internally, we're like, "Wow, this is a lot of change," but we have to communicate it very simply, and we have to realize that this is not the same circumstance where you have an undoxed team or people that haven't been in the ecosystem. If anybody is to change with the ecosystem, it is us. We know it extremely well, right? We have many advisors within the ecosystem that have told us, hey, yes, I could see the shock factor of this, but you're making the right decision today, and you will thank yourself in 3 months when there are people making this decision then. So if you want real estate vaults, you have to also want to drain your LP for 9 months after a change like 440. If 440 never happened, this call never happens. But because we do what we can with what we have, and we give it the best shot, which is upwards with instant and ditto, this is what we do. And I will say that because I'm, seeing all these other things. I will say that the investment into Zipcode is still feeding the teams here, right? That allows us to access capital, like I said, and that's also an open source good to Bigtensor. So just reiterating here now for the new people that have come in, I see that we have some viewers, but yeah, Peyton or Dan, what I would love to know is, or actually, this is more of a Dan question. Dan, I would love to know what's next, right? Today, I just posted and I said, hey, this is what we are. This is what's going on, but there is surely some stuff going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Let me give a call to action. Go to instantsubnet.com, put your email in the waitlist, and as soon as we get it out the door, you'll be the first to know.
Boom.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Sebi. So we have a waitlist going. First things first on our list is I got to serve Peyton and the inference that he needs, right? So that's going to get up and running. So even before you guys take off with it, like rest assured, the volume of inference is going to be coming through Instant is going to be substantial already, right? So and then the quality will be high enough to where if it's a commercial product, if it's Ditto, right? And then the third part of this is it's going to be fast, and that's the whole goal here, right? If it's not fast, then I guess it's going to be no good. But no, it's going to be fast because speed in itself is a form of scale, and we can scale higher than others if we increase the speed itself, right? So let's do twice the tokens per second, and then we can do the same volume of inference with half the GPUs. And that's one of the levers we can pull on, and that's where we're going to push this.
I love that. It's super easy to understand. We need half of the miners to do the same amount of tokens if we are 2 times the speed. Right, but that's also
exactly
different hardware, different customizations, different. Instead of getting a data center as a miner, now you have basically somebody who's tinkering with the machine and then manufacturing that machine almost like on their own.
Exactly. Create your own circuit board, your own FPGA, create your whatever it is. You want to do software optimizations, do software optimizations. So look, at the end of the day, as long as the speed is there and we can verify what model you used, it doesn't matter too much. And that ambiguity, that's, by the way, as a miner, that's your innovation too, right?
That's right.
You're a little lab all on your own, and you're pushing the frontier of AI, and we're together pushing the frontier of AI in this
right.
network.
Right.
It's 2 subnets with ambiguity, because the Ditto subnet, the agents are ambiguous, but the benchmarks are clear. And it's actually really challenging when the competition is that ambiguous. I mean, what's nice about Instant, and I think it's going to be a success, is like your IM is quite simple. It's just like verifiable speed, verifiable model, and you don't even have to like change the code at all. You can just ratchet the number up. Simple as that. Ditto subnet's a bit different because we actually have to like code and scale the difficulty, and it's been challenging. Oh, apologies for that. Sorry, where I was going, that is kind of a digression, but if you'll let me, I will digress.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to shout out and just throw out an idea that's been bouncing around in my head ever since I looked at Conjecture's new incentive mechanism. So I read the Conjecture's release, and I noticed that they do a treasury, and that miners don't register UIDs, and they kind of collect emissions, and then they pay out fixed bounties to provably solvable conjectures, right? So I looked at that, and I didn't say like, oh, that's what we should do. I looked at it and said, maybe that's an interesting tool in the Ditto IM toolbox, like something that we could utilize. And then I've been having an issue where our Ditto miners are phenomenal, and they tend to max out the bench. That's why we're on bench version 8 already in a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because every time we make the bench harder, the miners basically max it out. So with that in mind, I had this thought of, what if because every time that happens, I have to go in and scale the difficulty myself, and it takes me some time. And then during that time, the Ditto competition kind of sucks because it's saturated. Everybody's already at like 99, and it's just like you can only get tiny edges from there. So, what if when the Ditto bench competition starts saturating, the subnet automatically detects that we're reaching saturation, and then it activates an automatic taper, which is not a burn, but actually directs what would be burned to a treasury miner UID, and just holds on to that and collects it a little bit. And then that is our new treasury to incentivize pull requests on the subnet to make the bench correctly harder. Why would we do it this way? Because we did consider alternating a bench competition and agent competition, a bench competition. But the problem with a bench competition is that you have to be really careful with the bench. You got to review that code. Like, the bench is the product, the bench is kind of everything, or the bench is the value of the subnet. So I want to review that code. I want my team and my agents to review that code. But why not have a miner write some of that code? I've gotten some of my best ideas for the bench from miners who tell me, hey, I think you could make it harder this way. You should do ablation. You should do this to make sure people are calling the LLM. I was like, oh, cool. So what if we automatically activate this treasury to incentivize PRs that make the bench harder during those interim periods where, oh my God, we got to release bench 10. Oh, we need to release bench 11. That little period, we could have miners throw out PRs, and the ones that I approve and merge automatically incentivized. And Bigtensor has already proved that you can do this. It's not that hard to incentivize pull requests. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? I thought that was a cool thought.
I think that this is part of the adversarial campaigns that you've been talking about internally a lot. I think this is also part of, if you read what Conjecture, funny that we're talking about them on this type of call, but as they shifted from Ninja to Conjecture, they were saying, hey, we think that this is in fact possible, this strategy, but need to this harness thing on Bigtensor, but you need an adversarial campaign strategy. You need it to work in tandem, or I guess adjacent to these other adversarial elements, right? The bench gets harder, the agents get better. The bench gets harder, the agents. That's the understanding. That's really easy to understand. It's like an upward seesaw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You are harnessing the spirit of Bigtensor.
Oh, let
me put it that way. That's exactly what it is. That's you're incentivizing something using a mechanism that further incentivizes another mechanism. It's a great feedback loop.
Cool. I appreciate that coming from you, Dan. And yeah, just getting inspiration from what other subnets are doing. It's really fun. So I've said my piece here.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, hey, I know you're super busy. I can let you jump if you have to jump. But yeah, it's been an exciting week. What I do want to say on the Ditto front is that, guys, as you could tell, a lot of change is happening, right? You have to do things at a certain level, so some time has gone into that this week. And I just want you to know that the intention is that we did this so that we can get started as soon as Monday on everything that is Instant and Ditto, with my focus mainly saying, hey, Dan, you have Ditto as your first customer and Open Router, and you're going to go on all of the podcasts we're lining you up for over the next couple weeks. Great. We'll have the content ready for you, and your systems are already in place. Peyton, we need 10,000 users immediately. Stat. So that is my structure. That is the structure that I know will drive Instant up, Ditto up. And if people are upset today, fine, they'll be upset today. But when they see, wow, Instant already is generating revenue, oh wow, Ditto is doing another buyback this month and their user count is growing and their harness is beating out this name or that name. You cannot avoid those types of placements within Bigtensor, as they are going to be the products that actually make something special. That's my bet. My bet is not that one thing is going to take us to the next level. My bet is that we have to be fully aligned. We have to realize that the fastest and friendliest AI is going to win, and we are building that, right? Ditto has a lot of traction, a lot of growth, and we've intentionally slowed it down over the past 2 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Because We haven't posted a single demo or a single product update. Do you guys think that we haven't been doing all of this in the background? We have chats already integrated. We have all these things. Everything that we've been pitching has been built, so or is about to be completed.
That's right.
I'll let you go. I know you're busy. I'll let you share what you're busy about at another time when you're comfortable.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, guys. I will quickly update that our front end engineer Alan has handed off his pass of the Ditto V2 visuals, handed off to Omar and I and Nick Anderson. So basically, it filters through our team. We build out the necessary backend components to complete the circle. So that's great news. And some people have seen the mock-ups. So looking forward to that. And thank you so much for having me on here. Really excited for 46118's future. And peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love, Peyton. Thank you.
Peace and love. I do want to, Sebi, hit on the synergy that you're talking about, because this dual incentivization for both subnets, we can take a marketing campaign further with what Peyton mentioned, right? With inference, right? Free inference is kind of like
but then
the gold of today.
What the issue is then, we have to understand that, and I even say this to Peyton, we have to understand that no one's loyal in the AI game. So you have 1 week you're giving free inference, the next week it's not free and they're not there, right? Because someone else is. If you go on Open Router, you can even see subsidized models, but it's all about distribution, and distribution also only comes from actual value to the customer, and actual value to the customer is friendly and fast.
Ditto has a moat. It's building a moat, and in the AI space, that's kind of hard to do, right? Even what is it, ChatGPT, Anthropic, right? They're competing with each other, and there is no real moat. And then the models are coming from China as well. They're trying to build out a moat, and what Ditto's doing is it's also building a moat. And if you actually saw the novelty search that Ditto did a few weeks ago, you would see it getting built in action. I've seen some of these renders that Sebi's talking about. The moat is going to be there. And right now, Ditto, you can choose your AI provider, right? So it's in a place right now where the moat is not actually around AI itself. Instant is going to be in a different kind of game, right? And we're going to try to go, and our moat will try to be speed. And we're going to have to constantly push innovation in that direction. And it's a balance, speed and quality. And it's going to be a wonderful partnership. I could just see the flywheel already spinning of the positive reinforcement going back and forth. And honestly, at the end of the day, let's take the Steve Jobs point of view on this and be like, look, the end consumer is going to be the biggest beneficiary of all of this. And that's what I see. That's where I see us going. And that's what I see you pushing, Sebi, especially. And that's the exciting part here.
Yeah, you have to be special in this world, or else you're just talking. And back to the main point, we keep going back to our anchors here. You're either building something special as a specialized commodity, a unique commodity, as a product, or you are building something that has the potential to be a breakout product or service. But you have to bet everything on that, and you have to be willing to say and be willing to think, which I'm not, that my stakers are willing to buy that. I don't think so. I think if you could go invest in Targon or in Shoots or in some subnet that, even in a lower subnet in the 32 that is starting to get real revenue, or a subnet out of the 32 that is starting to get some revenue, that's the opportunity, right? We exist to provide opportunities, and we work really hard every day to create these products that in turn create opportunity for others. So my point is that by condensing our attention, by only focusing on what is also taking off, right? Guys, I don't know if you could tell, I have some people, I see the fruits here. I'm in all these chats. Shout out to the fruits and detail. But we have gone 11 months with Zipcode, and we are not at the revenue targets that we want. We thought this would happen sooner. We thought this would happen faster. You guys as stakers deserve explosive results. So Opinions will be what opinions will be in the meantime. But all I know is that Dan is an XOTF builder who I trust immensely. He has come in and showed, hey, we can actually create an immense experience for users that actually benefits the whole network. We just talked about Ditto, Dan, but there's other subnets that need validation. That's it.
That's right. That's right. We'll leave that for another time.
Right, we'll leave that for another time. So to round things out here, guys, I know for a fact that cutting dead weight, when it becomes dead weight, is the smart thing to do. This is a change, a structural change to the entity. 46 is not involved in real estate anymore. The Zipcode product itself still has that capability, but we are going to use that Zipcode product internally as a tool to capitalize the team without needing to go OTCs, which have their own problems, or do market selling. 46 becomes Instant, and Instant already has a commercial agreement with Ditto, who is already paying substantial capital for inference needs that it has for validation. So that's the rounded out idea. We know for this next week, we're going to go on stream twice on Tuesday for an update on where we are with, over the weekend. Dan moves fast. We all move fast. And then on Thursday, we'll do a recap of, what our launch path looks like. But Dan's been building this for a couple weeks now, mind you. So I don't know if, Dan, you want to say anything in terms of that, but that's my piece. I'm ready to go and start getting into all these chats. I'm seeing people talk, and I'm like, guys, once you get this, you're going to love this.
Absolutely. Internally,
it's
under development internally. It's getting tested. It's getting there. Sign up. I'll do the call to action again. InstantSubnet.com. Put your email in. You will get notifications, and I hope to see you there.
Amazing, guys. This has been a fun one. I'm looking at the view count, and it's our highest viewed stream yet. Obviously, this has been electric, pun intended, but we are going to see you in the chats immediately after. We'll see you on Novelty Search, and we're pumped for what's to come. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.